the second guy.
Welcome to 3R Sports, brought to you every week by River City Media. Boy, I'm coming in hot tonight, guys. Just got off a great show with my friend Mike Leach, where we discussed barbecue for the last hours. Let me tell you what I'll open the show with tonight. I bought food for me and Anna Lee. I do it every Tuesday because I got two shows back to back. And I just get off, and in the 30 minutes in between shows, I'll power through some chicken wings, a burger. I discovered tonight there is no powering through salad. So if you bring home a healthy salad and you've got 30 minutes to eat it, it ain't going to happen in 30 minutes. So Randall is still hungry, so he might be in a bad mood here because a fat guy's got a bad attitude.
Randall, I'm going to put that on your tombstone. No powering through salad.
Powering through salad. Let's bring in our two featured superstar. One, man, I'm telling you, Robbie, are you going to show up every week looking this dapper?
I have night court usually on Tuesdays, and so I'm coming straight from court. Really just, our rivals up in Bristol, Connecticut, just showing them kind of we can look nice too if we have to.
What do you mean? My River City dog, Freddie Free Dog shirt is not as nice as the suit and tie.
Hey, I've got
So and Raj, of course, we interrupted. Thank you for joining us. You had to skip out on a baseball game, and we do appreciate it. What was the update? Had we done much?
I did get an update. So lately we've had an issues with turning our hands over. He's 7. He hits cleanup, but basically he swung through a ball and clocked himself in the head without a helmet. So the follow through is not happening, but he's been hitting the ball well. But I think tonight he's thinking a little much. He's actually Ks, which are his first 2 Ks of the year. And, I'm under no delusions. I'm Indian. God made us to be engineers and doctors and lawyers, not to be athletes, but he's half white and he's pretty good. So today we went with trying to teach your wrists over, but via the lightsaber technique.
We need to check your concussion protocol if he's already cleared to play.
Good call.
All right. So we're having a little bit of internet trouble tonight, and it's on my end. So if the signal gets a little jumpy on you, just stay patient with us. And I've got construction down below, so I figure I'm wired together with some duct tape right now. But let's get to it tonight, guys. A lot going on. Of course, if you look below, you'll see scrolling draft day specials. Again, it's a combined Chappie's Fantasy Chat with the 3R Sports. A week from Thursday night, we'll be here live with a special. We'll probably get through 10, 12 picks, or at least till Robbie has had one too many beers. So we'll go as low. Go ahead.
Can I announce my daily 3-team parlay so people can follow along and see how we're doing throughout the show?
Yeah, absolutely. Is this your bet? Is this your bet your nuts bet?
No. This is my daily parlay. Very different. Oh, and speaking of, since they sent me some swag, I can go. I bet on DraftKings. They sent me some swag. Thanks for the swag, DraftKings. But I've got the Indians. I hope I didn't just get in trouble with the FCC again. I got the Indians and the Reds and the Tampa Bay Rays all money line. 3-team parlay.
All right, and we'll. You've got the Rays, the Reds, and who?
The Indians.
The Rays, the Reds, and the Indians. Okay. Well,
about to be the Cleveland baseball team, I guess.
I guess so. I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll have your bet your nuts segment later on tonight. So let's get started tonight and just get where we thought we would start. Let's start. Well, one other thing I wanted to start with, Rod, you're a USC graduate. We got a little bit of horrible news on the passing of Chris Brown earlier today, a 24-year-old all Pac-12 lineman. Kind of just a tragic situation. No details on why, but thought you might want to share a little bit about what kind of player he was.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm a UC San Diego graduate, but I'm a USC family. My first game was in 1980, and I've had season tickets since. Dad and sister both affiliated, but that's about me. And who gives a what about me right now? Chris Brown was. I mean, Sam Darnold said he was crushed, and Brown wasn't the most talented guy ever. He worked really hard and worked his way up. I think he came in as a freshman on third string. Just a super nice guy, one of those positive outlook dudes, and Darnold is obviously is a simpatico with people like that. I'd like to know more because it's unfortunately an epidemic in the sport, and with USC, there's been a number of young players that have passed away over the last 3 to 6 years, and this one hurt. I never had met him, but I really admired him. He worked his butt off to become the player that he did.
Yeah, and it's sad to start that way, but we wanted to at least to recognize him, put our sympathy out to the family.
Thank you.
And of course, no matter what school he went to, nothing but love. Anybody that plays at that level loves college football, which we all do too. It doesn't matter if you're a Trojan or a Vol, you love college football if you make it to that level. So interestingly enough, let's start. We're going to open the show with the current state of something in college sports. And right now, Tennessee, we started a week ago with one commitment or two signees, one, the 61 player in America from California, and then a Kennedy Chandler, a top 10 rated point guard. And then Robbie, the portal breaks open, the world breaks open. Kids are reclassifying. Kids are changing schools. What do you think of the current state, and has it changed recruiting as we understood it in the past?
Oh, it has blown the doors off of what it's been in the past. I was thinking about that a little bit on my drive home tonight, and how's it going to look? And our coaches viewing tape and recruiting at the same time, and then it looks back. There's obviously no direct contact from coaches to opposing players, not even opposing players that are already going during the season. But the problem you're going to have is there's no commissioner like the NBA, and you see what happens in the NBA. The guys recruit themselves. This
Right.
AAU circle that they play with. Go all, you split your ways after high school, go to two different schools. Hey, how's that coach treating you? Or what's that atmosphere like? I'm not really happy. Let's get on a group text, and you have your whole AAU team. Hey, it's so fun to play with Coach X. I mean, it probably won't stop, people like a certain coach in Baton Rouge from contacting players during the season, but it is just, dollar bills.
Right.
But that's what I fear is it's going to make the entitled players more entitled and move away, and there's really going to be no long-term commitment. I'm not happy, or even I'm injured. I didn't get to play. Let's go try something different. And I think I know UT these last season and this season, this is what Kentucky and Duke. Not the level of success, but just new roster every year and turnover and another thing is hope doesn't die after signing day, and this is our class coming in. It is something
Right.
to pay attention to all year long. What 4 stars, even 3 stars from the previous class, who's not getting to play, and where did they go? Look, and who was their top 3, and who'd they not pick, and kind of just shift the landscape. But yeah, complete game changer.
So there's a good point. There's a good point in that, Raj. Does it become equally as important to finish second in someone's recruiting as it does first? Because now, obviously, if you finish second and you're a 5-star, you go somewhere and you're unhappy, you can immediately move somewhere else.
I wouldn't even say that. I think affiliations, it's the new one and done is what it is. you never know where someone's going to go. You look at a kid like Nimari Burnett, who was a 5-star kid, went to Texas Tech. USC reportedly finished second, didn't really get out of Tech when he wanted to, and he ends up in Alabama. New coaches there, NATO, new assistants. You just never know is my point. And Nimari Burnett, I believe, is from Napa, California. So it's relationships, affiliations. I think that does matter, but it's also more or less a crapshoot, if you ask me.
So, Robbie, Tennessee took a transfer within the conference from Auburn, a kid who went to Auburn that played significant minutes, and Justin Powell, who was part of their future, and he moves to Knoxville, and it's from all I could tell was the kid wanted to be closer back to Louisville. So do you find that kids moving, can you be on the sidelines and look and go, hey, that kid would fit my program? If he hits the portal, that's who I want to recruit?
Well, I think there's two things in that. Where someone's from, like you take the kid, the 4-star from California who committed to Tennessee without even visiting because of COVID. He could come to Tennessee. I don't like it. I'm going back west where I'm more comfortable, and it could be something like that. So I think it is. Is it a fit? Are they happy? And also, who was the lead recruiter with these kids, and have they changed hands? The transfer we got, we being UT, got from Marquette. Well, we just hired the coach from an assistant coach from Marquette. So it was kind of a package deal, not saying any kind of impropriety because Vols would never do that. But
at the same time, Kim English goes to George Washington, and Ticket Gaines follows him to George Washington.
Yeah, so USC assistant coach Eric Mobley, who has 2 twin 7-foot sons, has nothing to do with how he was hired at USC, just for the record.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be what coaches, where they're from, what's their happiness level. You take going from Louisville to Auburn, Alabama, while still in the same southern region, it's a whole different dynamic as far as lifestyle goes. And frankly, these kids have been essentially locked down, even worse than the rest of us have.
Right. And last thought on this, Raj, do you find it, and Robbie, you can add to this one too. Do you think this destroys competition within the NCAA, or are we looking at a new normal in college athletics? That the new normal is, if I went to UT, not that I did this, but I went to UT and say there was a certain biology class I couldn't pass, and I took it 3 or 4 times, and I still couldn't pass it, and I end up going to UT Chattanooga and graduating because I could pass the biology class there. That was what a normal college student does. Does this put the athlete on the same footing, or does this give the athlete an advantage that shouldn't be allowed in competition?
It's a great question, and I don't think it's the new norm. But then again, scientifically, when it comes to health and the pandemic and society, when the NCAA declares that we're back to the 1-year sit-out rule, then that's going to state a little bit more about, again, the state of the country, the state of the pandemic. This was just kind of a one-time exception that's been brutally utilized. And, for somebody like myself from Southern California with a coach who's a total knucklehead, tons of kids are coming home, and it's saving his job, him being the coach, because of the pandemic. And hence I'm torn. But, yeah, I don't think it should ever become the norm. This used to be a commitment that you made for 4 years, really you made for life. And now it's a commitment until somebody's happy or unhappy, and then they go to the next place. So I hope that this is a temporary thing. And during the time being, we don't have fans. We can't go to a lot of games. It may as well be like hyper competitive. And but hopefully it'll go back to the way it was, or at least similar.
Do you think you can put that toothpaste back in the tube if you're the NCAA?
I think the NCAA is a bunch. I mean, there's nothing they do that surprises me. So either way. It wouldn't shock me if this makes sense. If any organization is incompetent enough to get away with it, where people can just chalk it up and rationalize that as, the NCAA, I didn't know, pandemic. Yes. Just because of my low expectations.
I know we're running short or long on this segment, but I think that this is kind of goes back to what I first brought up. NCAA in general, and maybe each sport within the NCAA needs commissioner over the whole thing. The NCAA needs to go on the same page with the NBA and say, "What are y'all? Are you going to lift this one and done rule? Or are you not?" Because it would be much better if they went to the baseball model. If you're good enough to go. If you're not, though, you stay 3 years and play them and get better, and then readdress it.
Yeah, and Robbie, I think I've also there's ways around the baseball rule. There's players that go from junior college straight to the minors, but I really like the baseball rule. It's well defined. It's worked for Major League Baseball, but I do think they're going to have trouble ever putting this back the way it was. Of course, I couldn't believe they got the one and done changed as they did a few years back. So it is. Go ahead.
Real quick on that. I mean, let's be honest, and probably pretty relevant today. Socioeconomically, who does the "you must go to college" rule affect the most when it comes to basketball? You know, that's rhetorical. That's absolutely rhetorical. But there's no reason why. With football, I think they justify it based upon, age and physicality. It's anatomical or something that people can't just go straight from high school. Basketball is something different. And I don't understand why baseball can have I guess it's cheap and easy to have minor league system all over the country, but, something we must take a deeper look at. There's no question.
They justified it in football because that was back when the rookies kept getting all the guaranteed money, and they didn't want to pay that to 18-year-olds who weren't going to pan out. And so now it's like, let's watch them for 3 years. Who's bigger, stronger, faster? We'll pay them the guaranteed money. That's kind of went by the wayside.
Great point.
All right, so moving on to the next segment. That's a great point. I'm sure that's something we'll come back to multiple times. But moving to the next segment, we're going to do a little bit of a lighthearted here. And Robbie sent us out something the other night, the best 25 uniforms in college football. Now, I've got another link on NBC Sports that's different than the first one, but I wanted to throw this out here. Let's just run down, and I think part of the pageantry of college football are the bands. It is the cheerleaders. It's the majorettes. It's the traditional looking college football uniforms. It's the crowd. I don't know that I've ever embraced the Oregon look or whatever. But let's start with you, Raj. And I know you're an SC guy. The SC finishes usually towards the top 10 in uniform style. What is your favorite uniforms?
I mean, get off my lawn, bro. I'm full-on traditionalist. Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Michigan, Alabama, just classic. Florida State. No, I mean, Florida State was a one specific gender college up until like 1980. Oregon, and we spell it WHOREGON, thanks to Uncle Phil. No, I mean, neon green and stuff just to try to get, the smoke and mirrors. But yeah, I'm straight up traditional Penn State, Texas, you name it. In our conference, even UCLA has got the simple cursive, Cal as well, but obviously I'm biased.
Robbie, do you have the list you sent out that you could read down for us? Or if you don't,
I don't have it handy.
Okay, that's fine. What do you? I mean, I agree with you. UCLA is one of my favorite uniforms. Raj, I know that drives you crazy, but it is. But Robbie, what do you find appealing? Do you like the tradition, or do you like something new?
Okay, so I'm also a get off my lawn kind of person. I think I think Oregon has its spot, and I think they're fun. But my top college football uniforms, and I'll get real specific. Michigan's, well, one, get rid of the stupid helmet stickers for Michigan. But
Right.
Michigan, white uniform, yellow pants, well, and get rid of the white pants. White jerseys, yellow pants, or maize pants. That to me, that's the best looking college football.
Okay.
And I like Ohio State's home, and that matchup paired together is perfect. Also, USC and UCLA, when they do the home and home, they both wear the home jerseys.
Yeah,
Great to look at. I love the LSU tradition of the white jersey being the home uniform. I just think that's just something cool they have. Also, Alabama and Auburn never ever changing it up, just same uniforms all the time. My favorite look as a Vols fan is white jerseys, orange pants.
right.
That's my favorite. I think for just personal preference, and I'm very heavy on the white jerseys, but I like the orange being at the bottom instead of the top. It's just my personal preference.
Question for you both: the gray unis.
I liked them.
I liked them, but we kept getting our ass kicked every time we wore them.
It's always like we're gonna get our butt kicked, but hey, look over here, we look great. Like Notre Dame would wear the green jerseys when they played #1 USC. Like, at least we look good.
Yeah,
I liked them.
Yeah.
I thought they were dope.
The problem with Tennessee with the gray jerseys, we'd always wear them against teams that were better than us. Like it was going to somehow make us better. Like, no, wear them against Vanderbilt. Well, wear them against Tennessee, Chattanooga.
You can't even say Vanderbilt anymore. Yeah, bro. Akron. Maybe.
Yeah,
No
the homecoming jerseys.
Yeah, I have a smoky gray jersey. It won't be coming out of the closet again because I had some nightmares in the smoky gray jerseys. Sorry, guys, I had to change off the other microphone. It was causing us all kinds of issues. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah. Has that been asked for Heupel yet? Is he going to do any alternate jerseys? Has anyone asked him that?
I don't know that they have. I could do without them until we get better. Now, if
I don't know what their first question was if that hasn't been asked.
I know. And in the other segment, thumbs up, thumbs down, we'll probably talk about some jerseys. I got some that I'm gonna run by y'all and just let you give thumbs up, thumbs down to what you think of them. And I tried to get a collection of both old school and new school to let us kind of see what it is. So, I hate to move on because I love uniforms, but we're trying to stay on an hour, everybody. Let's plug the things we got to. Draft night, that show will be an extended version of this show. Plus, we're adding Chappie back. We'll be here for about 2 hours. And we will, I think we're going to have some action draft night. So I'm looking forward to it, guys. And also, of course, Thursday night, OA with Chappie and myself. And just join us. We appreciate bringing this and you be here with us. Brandon Chain said no to something. I ain't sure what he said no to, but he said no to something. On to the next subject real fast.
Oh, wait. I bet what he's talking about is get rid of the helmet stickers. That was Michigan specific. I love Ohio State Buckeyes and Florida State's Tomahawk Chop. I like that too. Those are the only 2 helmet stickers that are worth a dang.
Yeah, I really like Ohio State's. And that's actually in the questions of pro helmet or anti-helmet stickers. And one more that never gets mentioned that I think is great is I really, really I like that old school tradition of the horn, the Vivo on the side of the helmet of Texas. But I like it in white and white. Robbie, I don't like to see the orange and white. Their road uniforms are really, really nice. LSU is my favorite uniform.
Those are sweet.
So, If I wouldn't mess up my camera, the professional here keeps kicking his chain underneath. So moving on. Go ahead.
I was gonna say just real quick, the jerseys that annoy me the most, I think, is Georgia. They just are so. How do you mess up red and black?
I don't know, but
like,
I mean,
it's like Green Bay got the wrong color shipment and just we'll throw this on and let them play.
I think it's the silver pants that makes me just like want to throw up.
Yeah.
All right.
Their head coach.
And this one we'll spend a little bit of time on it. Well, just mainly we're touching base here, guys. This baseball season's underway, and by the way, the Bet Your Nuts, Raj wins with the Dodgers winning that series. Robbie
got robbed too. We should have
live on the air
while
we were
those
broadcasting.
jerks.
And then, of course, Orlovsky wins in UFC's co-main event. We were 3-0. Off to a good start. That'll be coming.
Where else can you get that kind of winning percentage?
Nowhere. Nowhere. So baseball season started, and we have suffered. The Braves currently have 6 people on the DL. We saw Tatis be on the DL. I've seen more people on the DL than I've ever seen to start the season. We know that a lot of Latin baseball was limited, which these guys that play Latin baseball play all year, all around the clock. We also know that last year there was no COVID or no minor leagues, very shortened season with COVID. Is the inactivity part of the problem, Robbie?
I think it's just rolling over to. You talking about inactivity as far as like the injuries and all that?
Yes, they've played 60 games in 2 years, and now they're playing every day, travel, full 162 season.
Oh, well, I don't know about the inactivity. I think it's just the break in their routine. I mean, these are guys that wake up the same time every day, eat the same, and then added travel and not getting an off season and not taking that time off and then coming back and all being in a. I think it's just a different scenario for extremely regimented people. It would be, it's almost like you can walk around your house in the dark. So you got walking and feeling. Well, you change that routine up. You move a table, and things can go south quickly. And so I think that's a little bit of it. I guess you guys don't walk around your house in the dark a lot.
Yeah, I do.
I try not to move tables, but I like that. No pun intended. Things could go south quickly if I fell to the ground. But I agree entirely. The other thing I'd add too is that it absolutely is a sport of routine, and it's also a sport of there's a lot of kids internationally and domestically that depend upon that structure, that regularity. Especially internationally. And I can't help but think there's organizations that once they sign a kid, straight out of the Dominican Republic or whatnot, and he's locked up, like they probably don't pay the same amount of attention to the kid as before. And, like Yasiel Puig, Dodger fans, we loved him, but as a personality, but he's a controversial figure, but he literally had the experiences of real life experiences of a child. And not to impugn him because he's a highly intelligent guy. The point being is you take away all of that structure, all of total dependence upon that, and then you're suddenly paying 162 games. Yeah, I think there's no doubt that's affecting things. And pitchers, my boy Mookie got hit on the wrist last night inside the forearm. His dude kept coming way inside, and I think it's affecting everybody. But yes, don't hurt Mookie. That's my golden rule, but I digress.
So, Robbie, excuse me, everybody. Athletes, as Raj said, are so ingrained, and you kind of indicated it too. When they came back off of COVID, do you feel like there was a period of inactivity that just you couldn't go to gyms, you couldn't train with your hitting coaches. You could not live your life the way you had for 20 years. Do you see that now that pro sports, and baseball, I guess, is the first one that's really undertook this to look like it normally does? The routine, don't you think that's a little hard to start establishing again? Travel every 6 days, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and there's had to be a psychological toll it took on these players. It's one thing if you're the Dodgers and you're the whoever the Dodgers beat in the World Series last year, and you're playing it for you're playing for a championship. There's a lot of people that go down that are playing in these empty stadiums, and their teams suck, and you have to start doubting your do I love this as much as I thought I did?
Right.
Because there's so much adrenaline you get from playing in front of fans. Even if you're the Marlins, it must be nice to have 10 people there. But when you grow up and you play in front of all these packed places, and then now you're playing every day's got to be like a scrimmage to something. As much as wins and losses count, it's different. And does that make you work out as hard? Does that make you do that extra rep when you're just in it? You're already out of it, and there's nobody. You're not on TV necessarily. It's just, I think there's just a mental aspect that leads to a physical breakdown also.
So I think you're very to the point there, Robbie. Raj, one last question or maybe Robbie, you both can input to this. I'm really concerned if we've seen this many injuries in baseball. What could college football look like? New crowds. I think college football was probably the most effective sport without the crowd being there. Do you think, for lack of a better word, this is a new environment, and I think kids will absolutely go crazy to have 50,000 people back in Neyland Stadium or 60,000 people in Bryant-Denny Stadium. What do you think college football will look like pre or post-COVID, Robbie?
I would say if we being as a society, if we're comfortable being there, it being packed, and I think you're going to have the loudest, most excited crowds. I think every game's going to feel like a big rivalry. I think people are going to be happy to be back and be able to do that. I think there's going to be, I know the first Titans game I went to, I've talked about, they did a fantastic job, but it was still different. It was nerve-wracking to see who is, even though I'm not near them, who is beside me, who's peeing beside me, who's doing whatever, who's at the concession stand beside me.
Right.
But I think once that hurdle is jumped, then I think it's going to be tailgating is going to be more fun. Going to the game's going to be more fun, and the kids are going to, imagine if you're a player not having the vol walk for an entire season. Right. They're going to appreciate that. They're going to appreciate running through the tee to Rocky Top to the crowd going crazy. It's all going to make for a better environment, and it's just going to rising tide lifts all boats. I think everything's going to be better whenever fans get back and people get back to being excited in person. There's that atmosphere. I know I went to a few UT basketball games. I didn't make it any football games because I was I guess COVID's been crazy all year, but I went to a few UT basketball games, and Knoxville is a ghost town, and that's not how it is. And so even as going to get a few beers before the game or whiskeys or what have you not, who drinks beer? It was just kind of lame.
Didn't feel the same.
Yeah.
Didn't feel the same.
Exactly.
So, I know, Robbie, we got big news. Foley's coming back. I think part of the reason he came back was to feel normal again in that crowd. In his little acceptance or return, he was like, what if I could come back and do it again? He's going to get a chance to do it again in front of a normal crowd. So,
Oh,
go ahead, Robbie.
Absolutely. I mean, watching him on senior night was sad because not everybody could be there, and he is truly beloved on that campus. Sorry to jump in.
Raj, being West Coast, we've talked about it. There's a difference in college athletics. There is a difference in pro athletics. Here's my question for the West Coast. When the Vegas opens up and the Raiders get to experience what it's like to have a regular season in Las Vegas with their stadium, what's that atmosphere going to look like?
I am a Raider fan. They were in Los Angeles when I was a kid. The first games I remember were the 1980 Super Bowl against the Eagles. I was like 4. Randall was like 38, but Kenny King took one a long way. And then in 83, Marcus Allen, a 72-yard touchdown run against the Washington Redskins.
17.
Boy Norris. My bad, 17. Big difference. To me, that might as well be 38, but at the time.
It might as well.
Raider Nation, it's funny because let's say you're a married husband that plays fantasy football. Who knows such people? And you may say, honey, me and the boys are going to go to one road game a year. Well, you're probably going to tell your wife the Raiders are still in Oakland. But the point is, there's going to be a ton of visiting fans at every game. Mm-hmm. That being said, Raider fans are unlike any other. I hate to say this. I used to make the joke that it's not like we're saving for, well, I am, but not like most are saving for college fund, 529 for their kids. Raider Nation travels everywhere I've been. I've been to many games in Oakland. They call it the Raider Rooter in LA, Orange County, Ontario, and Burbank. Just flights to Oakland every Sunday, and they're all packed. So to answer your question, it's going to be pretty crazy, but I hope there's a lot of security. Let's put it that way, because there will certainly be a lot of road fans.
I've been to quite a few Titans games against the Raiders, and yes, Raider Nation shows up every single time.
Oh, I have as well.
All right, fellas, we've got one more segment, and then we've got our weekly, and we've done away, folks. I got the message. I got rid of the dumb bear and bull thing because nobody knew which way it went. We're just going to go thumbs up, thumbs down.
Wait. I finally watched an entire baseball series, and we're not going to talk about Dodgers Padres. I watched it all.
Next subject.
Floor is yours. Sorry, I'm not the host. My bad.
It's the Dodgers Padres.
No, we can go. We can go. I'll just throw it. Great series. I went 1-2 betting on it, but man, those teams are good, and they're going to be fun for a while.
It's the new Yankees Red Sox. It's our big rivals, the Giants. Because I played so well for the Dodgers, but after spending a lot of time in San Diego, America's greatest city, and I know Rob would agree, it's pretty cool. Because when I was there, it was like Cam and Nitty, even though he cheated. Kevin Brown, like back in the day, and the Padres were good. We used to call him Mr. Ho-Hos, but much respect to Tony Gwynn. But there's just a natural geographical rivalry between the two, and now it's like fully backed by talent. Even the Angels are good. It's kind of crazy because usually we're used to watching the East Coast dominate, the airwaves and Sports Center and whatnot, and I think West Coast is much better baseball this year.
So
the Padres sucked when I lived there.
In our thumbs up, thumbs down segment, I actually did have a couple of questions, but let's go ahead and pull them out. And I just realized all three of us lived in San Diego at one point. It's kind of crazy.
That's why we're East Coast, West Coast show.
We're definitely. We are running ads in California as we speak. But I was going to ask you, you said it a minute ago, is the Padres and Dodgers the new Yankees, Red Sox for the National League? Is it? This team for years has had a rivalry with this other team, but they couldn't beat them. Does the Padres now have to beat the Dodgers to actually have a rival in that Like it seems like until 2004, the Red Sox talked about the Yankees being a rival, but it wasn't. So we'll start there with you, Rod.
It's probably more geographical because I don't want to disrespect the Atlanta Braves, who, my wife is a huge Braves fan. Randall, you're a huge Braves fan. We got pretty lucky to get past the Braves last year, and it's the same team coming back, young pitching, great young farm system. They re-signed Osuna. Obviously, there's a guy named Acuna on that team. I heard he's pretty good. So I don't want to necessarily say it's Dodgers, Padres, because that's not necessarily it. Maybe it is because the Padres have two guys, which is crazy, but with $300 million contracts, and I guess we only have one. But Bellinger and a few guys are due
budget
pretty
hawks
soon.
over there.
Yeah, exactly. So the star power is greater between LA and San Diego, and geographically it's intra-division. So it's a great rivalry. But like in the NL, I mean, do not discount the Atlanta Braves ever, because I firmly believe that a team as constructed must pay their dues before they get to the ring. And as a Dodger fan, I can't tell you how many NLCS games I went to since 1988. Wow. Okay, now it's our turn. The Braves have paid their dues in miraculously depressing ways. They're right there too. In my point, and baseball is also about who gets hot at the right time. The mid-season trade deadline, you could acquire an amazing reliever. So I don't want to just say those two teams is the craziest rivalry, but it's fun to watch in Southern California, and I haven't been able to say that in a long time.
Robbie, did you enjoy? I mean, you don't watch a lot of baseball, and you watched it. Did you enjoy seeing names that you hadn't necessarily heard of before, and how good the Padres, some of those kids are? I'm not just talking about Tatis. There's talent everywhere on San Diego.
Yeah, I will take a step back and contradict one of the things Raj said. You have to pay your dues in baseball, or you can just get some trash cans and make some noise.
Fair. Notable exception.
Then you can just go right past.
Notable exception.
It was
those guys forever.
It was fun to watch. As a self-proclaimed, I'm a go to the ballpark baseball person, but I'm not a watch on TV very much baseball person. But that, it always helps to gamble on it to get some attention. But I had fun watching it. The games were good. The rivalry is intense, and a ton of young talent. The Padres are, I'm not sure how they're footing the bill, but they are, I guess. But yes, I think Petco. Randall, it wasn't built when you were there. Obviously, they were probably still in Qualcomm, but Petco is Petco is a fantastic stadium, one of the, I'd say, top 5 in baseball, and it is in downtown, which the district is blocking. I'm losing focus on the district. What is downtown San Diego? Gaslamp. Yeah, so great built right in the gas lamp. So if you're ever in San Diego visiting or you live there, go to the Padres games when you can. I would like it for when I lived there. It was just we just went there and drank and hey, Padres suck, no big deal. $10 ticket, you get in. I'm sure it's going to be a tough ticket and a great atmosphere with a great team.
I paid $3 to go to a Padres game one time.
I paid $1. Just to sit in right field and just to make fun of Tony Gwynn, but even though he's great and I respected him, we thought he was chubby. That's how intelligent and clever we were.
We would go when somebody was coming in we wanted to see. Say if St. Louis was coming in, we would go so we could see Ozzie Smith, or the Dodgers was in town, we wanted to see the Steve Garveys of the world or something. And we would time up our trips so that we could go see and I'm glad to see it because I've been in many baseball's games in San Diego at Qualcomm where they were lucky to be 5,000 people in the stands. It was the Florida Marlins at one point on the West Coast. So to change up a little bit from baseball, and the last subject we'll really cover. And folks, we're trying to keep this really tight. We may run just a minute long here because I want to let this subject, want to go through this subject. Recently, the thought of super conference are back on the table. Expanded playoffs to college football. I think we are headed towards the point of expanded playoffs. It sounds like there's a real agenda to expand the playoffs in 25. Also, I think if we do have expanded playoffs, what I've read, we may be pushing even closer and closer to a mega conference situation with our Power 5 conference. And the what I've read is maybe 74 to 80 teams in the power conferences. So it brings up a lot of great questions. Let's start with the current structure. And we'll start with Robbie. Are you happy with the 4-team playoff system? Is it enough for you?
So this is a all about me question because they're all about me answer, I should say. Is it okay for me right now? Yes. Yeah. So this is straight from my perspective, what I care about right now. Right. 4 teams is fine, perfectly fine by me now because Tennessee's never been 5th, 6th, or 7th.
Exactly.
And I mean, I didn't think that this year. The last couple years, I mean, when's the last time we've had a really good semifinal game anyways? It's Clemson, Ohio State, and Alabama right now. Throwing two or three, 4 more teams in there, I mean, it just the delay's inevitable. I mean, but how many times has Alabama legit got upset in the last decade? I mean, they've lost to Auburn a couple on the road. Johnny Manziel, Ole Miss, I guess, all those Ole Miss teams were good. I mean, I just don't, and Clemson hardly ever loses, unless they fix the watered down or not the advantages those teams have. Unless they figure that out first, expanding it more, it's just waiting up when the Final Four gets there. I mean, the caveat to that would be playing on home stadiums. Maybe kind of cool to have an Oregon play at Alabama for the first round, something like that. That would put some intrigue, but just to move it around to the bowl cities, unless Tennessee plays in New Orleans or the Rose Bowl, then okay. But yes, purely me question. But yeah, I don't see a reason for it right now.
Okay, fair enough. And then I wanted you, and one of the answers that I have is, it doesn't affect my life right now, and I kind of like it this way.
Yeah.
But another answer I would give you, and Raj, this one is for you because you are a Pac-12 fan, and we've seen the Pac-12 get left out of the NCAA Final Four for football. Should all conference winners in the Power 5 be in the playoffs, thus expanded playoffs?
I mean, if it's the Power 5, then you're talking about 5 teams, right? Do I think it should be expanded? Yes. I think the rationale behind that was, let's be realistic, it was the money. It doesn't mean you can't sponsor any one of those 8 games, number one. Number two, regular season games don't mean what they used to. Now you have to play these out-of-conference games against, Alabama or Ohio State. Oregon's playing them. USC plays Bama. Just to kind of, for some conferences, to compensate for the lack of talent on your resume. But the point being is it's the same premise, if you ask me. The Pac-12 is very different in the sense that it's regionally harmonious, meaning that, in LA, there's USC, UCLA, and they play the Arizona schools, Arizona State. Cal, Stanford, right? Oregon State, and the mountain schools even. Utah is why they came in there. Colorado. So it's a little bit different there. But in the SEC, does anybody care if Tennessee plays Missouri? No. I mean, I don't think so. So why not shorten the conference season 2 games and make it a 16-team playoff? Because you never know. You really don't. A team like Oklahoma with that kind of speed could face, a team like Ohio State that's just, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and they can run them out of the stadium. You never know. And, I think the money in the committee is probably holding it back, but, give us a shot, because 4 is far too small, in my opinion, of a field.
I think what would make it intriguing and get some upsets is always making one of the non-Power 5. Like, you get like a good Army, a good Navy team in there. Like, I would love to see the intrigue of, hey, it all on the line. Here's a triple option team coming at you, and just seeing how that would play out.
And you have the freedom to do that in a 16-team playoff. In the NCAA committee, when it comes to basketball, we all know there's sick, twisted individuals, and they love agendas and matchups and things. And I mean, who wouldn't want to see that in football? I agree entirely. But right now, there's no freedom, no flexibility. It's the same 4 teams. And I'm not just saying this. Those same 4 teams deserve it. They are, much respect. Much respect. But there's no reason why we can't open it up.
It really has become in college football lately the big 3 in Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama, and then the 4th team that gets in. But, Robbie, is Alabama so good that they make the playoffs null and void if we did expand them?
Oh, if you expand it?
Yes.
As long as Saban's there, absolutely. If it's 8 teams, yeah. Are they gonna look at the SEC? Carolina new coach, Tennessee new coach, Vanderbilt new coach. What do we got? Missouri new coach, I believe, or second year coach. Yeah, and you got Kiffin, Leach. Ed O had his magical year. Saban will out coach him for the rest of his life. There's no way Saban's losing 2 games in the SEC that's currently constructed because they don't play. If memory serves, they don't play. Well, they don't get Georgia every year, but and Tennessee's not a threat. So the Auburn road game gets them quite a bit, but Auburn's got a new coach, and it's not Gus Malzahn anymore. So is that guy going to be a threat to Saban? So yeah, if it's expanded, Alabama, book your ticket.
I actually disagree in the sense that Bama has been able – they are so good. And, again, as a Southern Cal guy with Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, I go back to those days like they were yesterday. They were like now 2 decades ago. And I used to be like jealous of Alabama but consider our program to be better. Now they're just untouchable. That being said, the first game is always so boring because it's so vanilla. So make them play a couple games and see who can do what. I mean, they've got, 4 deep and 5 stars. So they've been able to literally, the first game is like they played Washington, the one Pac-12 representative a few years ago. And I think the final was 24-7. I don't remember because I fell asleep.
Didn't they play USC a couple years ago?
Not in the playoffs. I was at the game when we played them in Dallas, and we went up 6-0, and then Alabama scored the next 52 points.
Yeah, that was a classic.
Yeah, Advocare Classic or whatever. But the point is, you have to use your roster, and Alabama's best suited to do that. But change your game plans and things, because Alabama's been pretty much able to walk into the championship game thus far, largely being the 1 seed.
Oh, I may have misunderstood the question. Was Alabama a lock to get to the championship? Was it just get? Oh, okay. I was saying a lock to get to the playoff. It was my bad. I'm just misunderstanding.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree.
Yes. Well, but your point is still the same. I think you're right that I just don't see a scenario where Alabama. It's got to end at some point, but I just don't see it anytime soon. So while we're in this subject, let's quickly, if we expand to super conference, I don't mind. So let's be a little realistic. North Texas, is not ever going to be a a Power 5 school. But there are some marginal schools out there that is going to be swept up by someone in this Soviet power conference. Right now, the Big 12 has 10 teams somehow. Who are the teams that you think of when we say, okay, we're going to add 10 to it? Who would be some of the teams do you think that could be brought from? For example, I think Cincinnati has proven their program at times are good enough to compete at a high level. But outside of Cincinnati, maybe Central Florida. But Robbie, close to home, is Memphis good enough to be in the Big 12?
Well, I think that they could be. They've shown they're good in football. Now, Memphis could be a mid-tier Big 12 football team, and they could be a top 4 or 5 basketball team.
Correct. I agree.
But the problem is it's not competition, it's TV market. And Memphis doesn't add enough TV market to the Big 12. Maybe Cincinnati does. The obvious one, if I was the Big 12, would be UCF. Huge alumni base, good at football, decent, they make the tournament enough to be relevant. And then so that would be, and that gets you into the Florida market. So the Orlando area, that would go there. And then if I doubt BYU ever would, but that would be another one you reach for. But maybe Cincinnati, UCF. But honestly, I think the next big move isn't the Big 12 expanding or the Pac-12 expanding. I think it's them all getting together and saying, what's our big – similar to what they were thinking about in the European Super League. At some point – not at some point, a while ago, the NCAA has lost its power and its function for football. It owns the tournament in basketball, so it will be around in basketball. But the college football playoff isn't owned by the NCAA. And so take your ball and say, we're leaving. We are being essentially what the XFL, what everyone has been trying to do to the NFL, but they've already got the built-in teams, stadiums, fan bases. They've got all their structure. We're taking our ball and we're going and we are negotiating our own TV deals. I mean, what ESPN just paid, what did they pay? Like $1 billion a year for the SEC or something like that? For the SEC game of the week?
It's unreal. I think it's
like $1.1 billion. Yeah, so why would you not just say, all right, let's band our best, I hate to copy the NFL, our best 32 teams, and let's split it up just like they do. And because they've got a fan base that likes the college football that doesn't necessarily watch the NFL. I think most NFL fans watch college football. So there's it's just there. And so to keep playing by the NCAA rules when they're outdated and not needed it's just kind of silly.
So is it 32 though? I mean, I guess that's my $1 million question. If I pick the best 32 programs right now, I would leave a Tennessee, I think, would be left out, which is a 100,000 seat football.
16, yes. 32, no way.
I don't know, man. But, you guys would. Akron was pretty good last year, but I certainly think it should be expanded. 32 may be excessive because again, it's at the expense of conference games and revenue sharing and all that nonsense that can probably be supplemented with sponsorships and whatnot. But personally, I think it should be a 16-team tournament, and it should be something that, because I don't think 16 compromises the things that we love about college football, which is the rivalry, the pageantry, the bands or whatnot. Let's say number one, obviously a hypothetical, number 1 Tennessee's playing number 16 Memphis, or number 16 North Texas. It's not going to have a lot of magic there. So I think that would diminish, rather if it were number 32. Point being is we have to preserve what makes college football great. But at the same time, I mean, it should be more equitable or at least more entertaining.
So in this scenario, though, and then we'll go on to our closing 2 segments. What happens to mid-majors? What happens to Boise State? What happens to Marshall? What happens to Wyoming? Do they then become the new college football? And there's a super group of Tennessee, Alabama, UCLA, USC. And then there's a next level that's created that is Wyoming, Memphis, Marshall. And that becomes more important, almost like a Division I AA. Could you see? Go ahead, Roger.
I want to ask Rob this because Rob has very unique perspectives on certain things, and this may be one of them. What constitutes a mid-major? Like what? We talked about UCF. They have almost 60,000 undergrads in the Orlando area, most of which are commuter students. But why can't? To me, we're just saying that like a team that doesn't, or a school that doesn't have the same status level of others in football isn't quite ready to be considered seriously. And I don't really understand and what would be the alternative. And Rob is very good at thinking outside the box, so I wanted to ask him.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Thanks. Yeah. So
no pressure.
To me, in football, I wouldn't say it's the conference affiliation necessarily. It is the scheduling power. So UCF doesn't have any scheduling power with the big boys at all. So it's always if they want to play, if they will even play UFC or UCF, it's always on their terms at their stadium. No home and homes. I think Florida debated it for a while, and I think it was 3 games at Florida for 1 at UCF. And so to me, that's the mid-major. You just don't have power. And the reason why you don't have any power is because you don't have access to the tournament at the end. So to parallel that with basketball, the Zags have gotten power because they have made it to the tournament. They've made the runs. Loyola Chicago has got a brand. They've made it to the tournament. They've had access to the money. They've had access to a championship path. So they can play at least neutral site games against these teams. They can, or a home and home. They can negotiate. Where in football there is no negotiation. So that's my view of a mid-major who doesn't have any power. When Boise was at its height, it played a home and home with Oregon. I can remember the LeGarrette Blunt punch. And so they got the Ducks to come to the blue turf and beat them. So that was the closest that anyone came to breaching a lower conference into some negotiating power.
So I'm just a tad bit older than you guys, which we like to point out, and I enjoy Ben. But while you were talking, Robbie, there's 3 examples that come to mind to me, and they're from different era. And Boise was the first one. I think they got on the door, and I actually thought Boise actually had a chance to get a spot in a Pac-12 or a Big 12 at one point, but they didn't make that leap. The other one that comes to mind was in the mid-90s or late 80s. Southern Mississippi got on the doorstep. And
Southern Methodist.
Yeah, well, Southern Methodist was there until –
He's talking about Brett Favre.
Oh.
Brett Favre, Southern Mississippi. And I'm going to wrap this up, and it'll make sense here in a minute. The last one I can truly remember going from no scheduling power to ultimate scheduling power is Florida State. If you looked at Florida State in 1976, it looked no different than probably a lot of these schools look right now.
Again, they were all female. They were one gender up until a certain point, right?
To a certain point in the 60s, they were. Southern Miss and Florida State did it one way, and it's the only way that I've ever seen it succeed. And Southern Miss beat Alabama, came to Knoxville. Southern Miss was willing, and Florida State. I remember Florida State playing. I don't remember if it was one of the Mississippi schools 4 times to get a home game. They were just like, we're so determined to do this. And they got there by starting to win those football games. So I guess they laid out the pattern in the 70s. You've got to be willing to make those 3-for-1 sacrifices like UFC was negotiating with Florida. But if you don't win, it doesn't pay off.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's a Florida State's a great example. The one and the geographic advantage Florida State had, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they're obviously in Florida, but they went from independent to join the ACC, who had no footprint in Florida.
Right.
And so thus nobody to block them. Right now, UCF will get blocked in the ACC by Miami and Florida State, and they will get blocked in the SEC by Florida. And so really UCF's only landing place is going to be the Big 12.
Right. And to a certain extent, while Miami had a bigger footprint always than Florida State, if you'll remember the Michael Irving teams in the 80s, Hurricane teams, they really came from nowhere to be a dominant power in college football that got them into the ACC. So,
right. They were in the Big East at that point, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So, guys, this has been a great show. Y'all want to do thumbs up, thumbs down now, or you want to go straight to bet your nuts? Because I think we'll do a couple of thumbs down. Yeah, just a couple here.
Let's do both.
Go back to the uniform question. Is Oregon's uniform appealing to anybody over 18 years in age? Raj?
Not with a brain, no. I mean, well, then again, I'm easily seduced by a lot of things, and so is Rob. So I'll say maybe, even though I loathe them. But yes.
So you want to give me a thumbs in the middle?
This one. Yeah, that one.
Robbie, your thoughts on that one?
So Oregon, yes. Maryland, no. If you're gonna do it, be the first to do it.
Or be good at football.
Yeah. Definitely don't be all flashy and suck.
That's the worst.
All right, next question. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Tennessee State hires Eddie George with no coaching experience. He then hires Hugh Jackson to be on his staff, adds Jeff Fisher as a consultant, hires Jeff Fisher's son to be a defensive coordinator. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Eddie George succeeds at Tennessee State. Start with Rob on this one.
Thumbs up. They really have nothing to lose, and with Jeff Fisher on your staff, you're guaranteed to go 8-8.
From a Titans fan. Raj, what's your thought on Eddie George getting a head coaching job?
I don't get it. I mean, usually it's marketing, it's promotional. He's never coached before. He's a handsome guy, and he's got sweet headshots, and he probably worth like 20 to 40 million in his life. And yeah, I really don't understand it. Aside from Tennessee State, which I don't think they had any money paying him an excessive amount. But yeah, it seems like it's all for show. I mean, good for him when they it's just like Dion at Georgia State. At least Dion pulling recruits. And maybe Dion was the blueprint. But the proof is in the pudding. After 4 years when they're fledgling, he'll be gone, in my opinion.
Robbie,
hey, so is Josh Heupel, so they can have coaching searches together.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. DraftKings and FanDuel make me watch sports that I'm not even a fan of so I can gamble on them. We'll start with Robbie Davis on that one.
Hey, hell, I'm going 0 for 3 on a parlay right now on the score I don't even really watch.
Go baseball.
Actually, I'll take that back. 1-for-2. The Rays are winning right now. To be fair, though, we were going to bet I was going to bet the Pirates, I think. They got postponed. But, no, it makes me want – well, even before these legalized means of gambling, I like to keep a little ledger just for my own sake. But no, I think just all the sports and just being stuck at home, even though I usually go to sports bars and they're on in the background, but at my house I have the volume on, and so it's making me watch more and pay attention more.
It does me. I mean, 100%. I am a guy who kind of lost interest in baseball that is now 100% in baseball, looking at the starting pitchers every night. And I think a lot of it has to do with I play DraftKings. Y'all saw the other night, I was so excited. I won a West Coast contest for $200, and you thought I'd won the World Series.
Much respect, because you had to stay up to like 2 a.m. on the East Coast, man.
I did.
Quickly, that's the age-old question. Would you root for your fantasy team over your favorite team? And I think it depends on the person, the amount of money, where you're from. If you're from a big market team, probably not. If you're not, then yeah, I'm sure you would. I mean, I think it makes things interesting. Personally speaking, when I bet and lay it down, I'm not trying to generate massive amounts of wealth. I am trying to generate massive amounts of interest. And that may sound arrogant.
You're doing it all wrong, man.
Obvious. I have a certain amount that I'm set, just like Vegas, dude. You go there, I got this much that I'm gonna lose or spend. If I win anything or anything above that, it's all gravy. But I'm still gonna love it no matter what. So I'm a little bit of a different beast. So thumbs up.
I'm definitely a root for my team over my fantasy team, but I purposely try to do both because I don't draft players that are going to be in the Titans division unless I absolutely have to.
And that's why you haven't won the league in 20 years.
It's getting embarrassing.
Yeah. This. Let's not talk about that. All right, guys. Well, I mean, let's plug our stuff. Of course, every week we are here at 8:00. 3 hours sport. Robbie, Rod, and Randall. It's a great time. I think we bring you a lot of great content.
Wait. We forgot nuts.
Quick nuts. We're not doing our lock of the until next week.
I got nuts covered.
Okay, we'll let you host.
I'm just plugging. Randall said, Robbie wearing a tie like he worked today. Probably played 36 with Criminal. I like that one. So here every Tuesday night, and I guess we're going to do. Are we going to do a show next Tuesday and do the NFL draft special?
Yes.
So we're going to record 2 different nights. Robbie, you might want to clear that with a certain female that I promise never to make mad.
He doesn't even have a kid, dude. Stephanie's on board. No, Rob, sack up, bro. Sack up.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't. She'll be happy I'm in our office instead of the draft on the big TV.
Okay. She is pretty cool. She is super cool.
So we'll start at 7:30. We'll go to about 10 o'clock or to Robbie's 12-pack. And we'll have a greght time and
warn the FCC in advance to go watch somebody else's show.
I sent this break for a second. Y'all can just be part of the inside of the show. I sent it to the network that we were going to do this, and they were like, okay. And I made a joke. I was like, yeah, it just matters. We'll go till 10 or till Robbie or Raj says something so inappropriate that I have to kill the feed. And do you know what I got back? Just make sure they don't have the TV on in the background when they do it.
Hold on 1 second. I gotta. Well, you guys keep. My wife is locked out. Hold on.
So may as well start with me then, because he's going to be locked out for a while, if you know what I mean.
I think we're safe as long as we don't turn the TV on the wrong station. Or I'm excited about the draft. I still think we got one more big trade coming. I'm thinking the Denver Broncos are going to move up to number 4, but we'll see that. So, the most popular, sponsored by where's those nuts from?
These ended up in my house somehow. These are Texas Roadhouse. They're not even like Dodger nuts. I think I just Texas violated. Roadhouse. No, I just found these, and it has nothing to do with Texas Roadhouse. They're just peanuts.
Yeah, we're going to put our nuts on the line. Last week, Robbie put his nuts on the line with a baseball. It was 6-0 by the time you texted us, and we were off the air. So, what are you going to bring us this week? Which this parlay doesn't look like it was your bet your nuts.
No, that's just my. This is my daily 3-teamer to fund my bet your nuts pick. Okay. So this week I'm giving you sitting at plus 200. So bet 100, win 200, get back 300 for you math whizzes. It is going to be, and I bet it this weekend, and I won this weekend. Denny Hamlin, top 3 at the Geico 500. Sitting at plus 200, top 3, Denny Hamlin.
Nice. Raj?
It's actually not this week, but you guys know that MMA-wise, I'm partial to my boy. Great kid, great guy. Neil Dariush, like one of the nicest people. Now, I used to do super well on his fights because he was an underdog. Right now against Tony Ferguson, this is May 15th. It's pretty close to even, but I'll take the Dariush money line all day. As for this week, the Lakers get back Anthony Davis and LeBron James. So, I'm always a money line guy as part of a parlay. Like when it comes to the Dodgers, Dodger money line plus whatever you're feeling lucky about. Because usually you'll get that one thing down. So if I have to go this week, I was trying to figure this out. I really didn't have anything, to be honest with you. My bet my nuts that Robbie is wrong.
Oh, look at this action.
I needed something.
Somebody's going to be 2-0, and somebody's
going to be nutless.
Oh. All right. So I have got I've got to play a parlay because I just can't play. It's easy to say, I'm taking Usman to win because he's minus 400. But I'm playing a 2-fighter parlay with Bullet Shevchenko and Usman to buy it down to negative 145. Give me both of them to win. And also at plus 250, I'm going with Bullet to end the fight before the third round. So
yeah, come here.
I'm giving you a bonus pick. My bet your nuts is Shevchenko, Bullet Shevchenko, and Usman on a parlay. And then throw your money.
There you are.
Bullet to end the fight.
Right there.
So.
I couldn't eat a
Don't be shy.
Hey, let's see the back of that jersey. What number is that kid wearing?
Number 10.
What's he wearing 10
Justin
for?
Turner, Chipper Jones.
I was just looking at the NBA standings as the Lakers came up. Y'all know the Hawks are a 4 seed right now? We could have some playoff basketball just down the road.
Yeah, the Hawks are doing so well. I went to see how many balls they were going to have in the lottery and found out right now they'd be the 21st pick.
Yeah. Huh. Who knew?
That's life as a Hawks fan, so I've been enjoying it.
Yeah.
All right. So Bullet and Usman. That's my pick. Robbie, we got just a minute. Why don't you throw out anything you want to throw out and hit us with some closing thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's been fun. It's getting more and more fun each week, getting with you guys. Hopefully, people are enjoying it, and thanks for listening. And again, shout out DraftKings for the sweet merch. Free.
On the week you refused to mention them, they sent you merch.
Yep, that's right. Now, I just got to think of some more things I use. Here's a cell phone. I'm not going to mention the company. And then it's a send a free cell phone.
FanDuel.
He's always working it. As for me, again, big ups to my boy Benny Dariush. People sleep on him. He's 20 wins, 4 losses, and I think 1 draw. Just sleep on anybody that's hardworking, that has a lot of faith, and that does the right thing. The other thing would be, per usual, go Dodgers, Lakers, anybody else on the West Coast, because I'm the only one here who pulls for us.
Well, in a level of pathetic that only I can reach to, Saturday I am headed to Knoxville to watch spring football. It will be the first time that I have watched football other than in the broadcast booth during the high school season. I don't know how long I'll make it, but I've been super COVID paranoid. I am now vaccinated. I don't know if I'll go and freak out. I feel like a man. I'm afraid I'm literally, if there's a crowd around me, I may freak out and just leave.
Hey, is there room in the car? I may want to go.
Yeah, I'll yell at you offline.
Okay.
Hey, there shouldn't be a crowd around any Tennessee spring game.
I think you're more likely to catch COVID walking down the street than you are of the Vols orange and white game.
Yeah, I think so too, but I was going to throw it out there. And again, we appreciate all the support. I want to plug the shirts. They are on sale, but I'm going to be honest with you. This is how much I am an honest guy. I've got them available at a price right now. I'm going to have them $5 cheaper here in about a week and a half. So I'm not really going to plug the place that made these. I'm plugging the place that stole the design of these. So give us about 10 days. We'll have plenty of shirts in, and we're going to be able to sell them for $20 a spot instead of $25. So we made that deal today. Also, we've got hats that'll look similar to this, trucker hats that'll be in about 2 weeks. Thank you. Seriously, we joke around, but thank you so much to the 1,000 people on average that watch us spew our stuff on here every week. It is really nice to know that people take part of their day to watch us and give us feedback. And this is an honor to come to your home and do this. So we'll never forget it. We hope we entertain you, but we have to ask, please go to YouTube and like our channel. Please go to Facebook and like our Facebook page. Rod's got us like 300 new viewers by like half the way. All of a sudden, we're trending on the West Coast.
That was just I'm Indian, so that was just my immediate family, my 250 brothers and my 10 sisters.
Yep.
The official Twitter of this program is Robbie Davis's. What?
Oh, I forgot about that. I forgot that I'm supposed to be tweeting that. Too many cocktails at the beach last week.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate everybody. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Take care. That's a sudden ending.